Shutdown as the president urges congressional Republicans to end the shutdown by ending the filibuster. And here to discuss this and other developments is Dr. David Ramadan, professor at George Mason University and former Virginia delegate. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. The top two Republicans in Congress are not supporting the president on taking this latest requested step. What are they concerned about?
First, they should be doing their job, and their job is to legislate and to make sure the government is funded. The problem we have today is not just Republicans, it's everybody in Congress not doing their work. Both sides in this shutdown, Kelly, think that they're not taking the blame. They think the other side is taking the blame. Conventional wisdom, normally the party in power takes the blame for a shutdown. This is unique. We were seeing the polls showing it almost even on both sides. Therefore, there's no incentive for either side to give in at this point, whether it's for SNAP or whether it's to end the entire thing. However, bottom line is they're not doing their jobs.
Let's talk about SNAP, because two federal judges have directed the Agriculture Department to take some action concerning those benefits for millions of Americans. This is a positive step, but analysts are saying that there will still be a delay in the delivery of these payments.
Oh, certainly. There will be a delay. It takes time to process. There are people that were supposed to get their money yesterday. They did not get it yesterday. By the time they go through this, there will be millions of our fellow Americans that will be lining up in front of food banks because they cannot afford to pay for food. And we're not just talking about people that take SNAP or get SNAP on a continuous basis. We have federal workers, especially in our area, Kelly, that have been lining up in front of food banks for the last 2 weeks because they're trying to move their budgets, internal budgets, from paying for food to paying for rent or paying for the mortgage at the end of the month, anticipating that yesterday they did not get a paycheck. This is ridiculous. This government needs to function better. Kelly, interesting enough, we have not had a balanced budget in the United States for 27 years. The Congress and the president have not submitted a budget. In the last 50 years, only 4 times did we have a budget submitted on time before the end of the fiscal year. Only 4 times. And we've been almost always operating on continuous resolutions. It's time to end this madness. There are changes that can be made to end this madness. Now, the permanent change is obviously a requirement of a balanced budget amendment, amending the Constitution, but that takes years and years to go through. However, that's how our government should work. In Virginia, for example, we have in the Virginia Constitution a balanced budget amendment. Regardless of differences between Democrats and Republicans, by the end of the time allotted for the process, they're required, delegates, senators, and the governor required to submit, per the Virginia Constitution, balanced budget amendment, and we don't have government shutdowns. The federal government should operate just like the states do, within their means, instead of 1, printing money, and 2, doing that in continuous CR. In the meantime, there is an effort on Capitol Hill. There is Senator Lankford of Oklahoma, Congressman Arrington of Texas, the chair of the House Budget Committee, have a measure or a bill that will make a couple changes if they pass it. One, it will require Congress to stay in town during a shutdown instead of being in their districts or vacationing or doing whatever they claim they do. 2, it automatically creates continuous CRs to keep the government open. That's, again, not the balanced budget amendment. That's not a long-term fix, but at least that is a short-term fix. We discussed that on our podcast at the Schar School, Policy and Government, last week with a couple experts, and I think that is a great idea for Congress to pass it when they get back in town and when they get back to doing their job, as they should be.
Yeah, and speaking of short-term fixes, local governments are now stepping up to cover those SNAP benefits. We heard that Rhode Island judge in his ruling saying that irreparable harm will begin to occur in the terror that this has caused some people. So this lack of funding, we know, has the potential to harm American households, but it also could harm local and state budgets. Is that local funding likely to be reimbursed by the federal government when this is all said and done?
One, we don't know. And two, as I was just saying, local governments, whether it's local or state level, they have balanced budgets. They don't have extra money. They don't print money. So when they are substituting this money, they're doing one out of two things. Either taking that money from another item that they have in their budget, or they're using their rainy day funds. And they don't have the means of the federal government. So this is either way bad for local governments, either way bad for states. And it's highly unlikely that they're going to get that money back from the federal government.
All right. Well, it has been great talking with you about this. Dr. David Ramadan, he is professor at George Mason University and a former Virginia delegate. We thank you for being here.